I hear this all the time. I just want 3 interviews. If the interview process is too long, I'm not going to bother taking part. All of this kind of stuff. People want like quick interviews, and you see it on LinkedIn and you all of that kind of stuff. But I've got a slightly different take on this. And work is something you do most in your life, right? I mean, most people are like talking about work-life balance, and the opposite of life is death. And people are equating work to death, and that's a bad equation. So my point is that you are choosing to spend most of your life with these people, the people you're going to be joining. And so for me, as an individual choosing to join a company, I want I want to do my due diligence, right? I want to interview the people I'm meeting. I want them to also interview me. It needs to be like a joint decision. It's like, yeah, well, let's go all in together, right? Like I'm choosing to spend my life with you and vice versa. And we want to do this really cool stuff together and we're aligned on the values and the whole malarkey. So that's where I stand on this. So why would you not want to meet like within reason, right? I'm not talking about like 50 people, but why would you not want to meet as many relevant people as you possibly can to make an informed decision? I'm just going to put that out there. Now, I hear from a lot of candidates, and they're moaning about long interview processes, too many interviews. You hear this thing of like, well, if they can't decide after 3, what's it going to like to work there, and all these kind of things. And actually, I just think, for me, the biggest problem with an interview process isn't necessarily how many interviews there are, as long as the company communicates it right at the beginning. So if you're going into an interview process and the hiring manager or the talent acquisition person, or HR or exec recruiter, or whoever it is, who's running the process is like, hey, just to let you know, there's going to be 7 stages. You're going to meet these people because these are the people that you're going to be interacting with most, and they're making the decision. That's it. And you're going to be a psychometric test, and there might be a little presentation and whatever it might be. You need to jump through a few hoops and all this, but they've let you know up front. And then you can be like, right, you know what? Sounds great. I'm in, and I want to see this through. The worst, the worst is when you don't know, right? And you've gone through a few interviews and they're like, and just one more. And hold on, I've got one more. And just one more. And suddenly it's getting long and the time's going long, and then suddenly, something that you were really engaged with, and there's a bit of time taken, you start to get disengaged and you start to like kind of, lean out a little bit. It starts to feel a little bit sour. So I think for 2 things, for the hiring manager and the company hiring, over communicate to candidates. Massive. Tell them how many stages, decide up front how many stages. If someone else is coming into the process, why? Communicate, communicate, all these kind of things. If you're doing an assessment or presentation, communicate. Like it's massive. That interview, that candidate experience is really important. Whether these people are, they get the job or not, really important that people have a good experience with you, even if they don't get the job for many, many reasons. And again, if you want to attract like top talent, if you're attracting senior leaders, you're taking them often from other companies, headhunting them. They might not be looking at the time, but you slowly start to get them in, and then they're suddenly there, emotionally invested in the process, and actually they like the role and they want to see it through. The worst thing is you don't want, adding on interviews and they don't really know, and it's like another and it's another, and because you've got to appreciate when you're interviewing, right? It's like at least an hour's thinking time, right? And prep. Then you got the hour interview. Then you're like, how did I do? Oh, I could have answered that better. Well, this was good, whatever. Just downloading. Calculate it in for at least 3-4 hours per interview, right? Imagine you have like 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a big time investment. And you're not paying them for their time, right? So they're doing this for free. They might be taking holiday days, and so you just have to appreciate all of that. Treat people fairly, with respect, communicate. It goes a long way. And then if your process, and hey, for senior roles, absolutely might be 10, 12 people to meet. Line manager, peers, a direct report or 2, or whatever. Just like there's a kind of a little bit of an ecosystem of people. So communicate. Now, if you're the individual, now, hey, if you're out of work, of course, you really want to get a job really quick. And I can appreciate that you don't want to go through like a couple of months of a process. I completely appreciate that. Um, However, if you're going for a big role, I think there is incredible value in meeting all of the key people coming into the organization, not with one or two, maybe let's say three people who have said yes, but you've got the buy-in of the group because people come and go. The worst thing you can do is you come into a new role and your sponsor or two, the ones that have brought you in, they've gone. They're out, they've got a new job themselves, they've been made redundant or whatever. Suddenly you're like, who is this guy that's coming? I didn't even know he was coming. And so for me, it de-risks it. The biggest thing of moving jobs is the people, the relationships, that human capital that you've built up over your time at one firm. Choosing to leave that and move to a new, biggest thing is the people. Who are they? Am I going to get on with them? Are they going to be there for me? Can I be there for them? Those kinds of things. So really, for me, immense value. Research, meet as many people as you can, take some references about them. All of those things, and it'll be incredible value. Um, I hope that helps.